Welcome back to another episode of the Rooted Soul podcast series. I'm your host, Jamila, owner of Rooted Soul, which is a virtual holistic wellness space, community services for the Afro diaspora. And in this podcast series, we've been talking about energies and how to reconnect with energy, how to align with energy, how to flow with energy, how to heal the blockage of energy within us. In today's episode, we are going to and we have been talking about energy using the tarot deck, the major arcana portion of the tarot deck, as our baseline, our symbolism in understanding energy. And I've mentioned in some of my other episodes that this is just one symbolism that can be used. There's so many different ways, symbolisms out there that can be used to talk about, to describe, that kind of symbolizes the characteristics or aspects of energy. But this one I thought did a very good job of kind of incorporating the number, the energy of a number, the energy of a characteristic, the energy of a planet, the energy of a chakra, etc., etc. And so this is why for this podcast series, I chose to use the tarot deck as the symbolizing it, energy. And so in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the chariot. And the chariot is the energy of the number seven. And if you've been following along with the podcast, you know that we start with zero, the number of pure imagination. It's where there is the beginning and the end, or the end and the beginning. And from there, you take that to number one, which is your magic, and you begin to take that imagination and conjure up or begin to develop a manifestation that you want to happen from that pure imagination. And then you move from there into number two, into your high priestess um, energy, and into honoring your intuition and your spirit and what it informs you about this journey of beginning to manifest from your pure imagination. And then you move into energy three and four, the Empress and Emperor, which is the feminine and masculine energy of actually working out all that is in you from your spirit, right, and your sense of knowing, that manifestation, right, that you're working with. Now you're working that out on the physical plane in that Empress, and Emperor energy. And then from there, you start to incorporate number five. Right now, you're coming into change and your higher fat. Right now, you're coming into that energy of actually learning how to put this all into practice and making it work. Um, that may be realizing some things you know how to work out on your healing journey. That may be some realizations of people you need to add into your life, or things you need to replace from your life. And then from there, you come into more of a balance, right? The lover energy in you, which is number six. And then that leads us to number seven, the chariot. And that is just a brief overview. If you haven't checked out the other episodes, I encourage you to, where I go into further detail. And so in this episode, like I was saying, the chariot energy represents the number seven. And number seven is like, now you've had this journey, right? And this understanding. Um, so you, on this journey from zero to seven, you've learned more about yourself. You become more aware. You should start to see some of the budding of the work that you've been putting in, right? And now it's time to go full fledged in trusting, um, trusting yourself and moving in the energy of the sun and that trust of yourself. The chariot energy aligns with the solar plexus, which is the seat, our energy channel of your confidence, of your gut, right? Like it's the gateway to your higher self and the gateway to your lower self. And in my other episodes, you've heard me talk about lower and higher self. This doesn't mean in a negative or positive aspect. It has to do with just there is our higher realm, and our higher realm um, communicates with our lower. Our lower realm is just the the boots on the ground. The higher realm is the one that has the channeling to the higher realms. The universal consciousness is the ancestral plane, right? Like this, your soul, your sense of knowing. Um, and so both, when we live in harmony and balance, they both flow together. And so the solar plexus is like the gateway. And if your solar plexus is blocked, then it interrupts that flow so that you can move in harmony and balance. But when it is open and cleared and healed, um, then you are able to use that, right, to charge yourself forward in taking more, I guess, bold actions in creating the life that your spirit has been leading you up towards to that point. And so, like I said, it's the energy of the solar plexus, the energy of the sun. And the number seven can be, has, different aspects. It can be 4 and 3, which is like that awkwardness, right? Like that struggle of working your root, or working your plan, or working your manifestation on this earth while still staying in harmony with yourself. It can also be like the number 2, right? Like that high priestess in you, that high priestess, high priest energy in you, right? Moving forward, like forcing change, with like number 5 represents change. So forcing change in your life. These are just some ways of how this energy, like how you can break down the number 7 and how this energy is working in within you. But the chariot energy is one of receptiveness, right? Like so, um, receptiveness meaning like receiving what you know is due to you, and not due to you in this like unbalanced way, but more so of I know what was dropped or downloaded into my spirit. I know I have the power of manifestation. I know that I am the emperor and empress on this earth, right? Like, and I know that I am walking in my divine purpose and guidance, and so I am receptive to what the universe has for me to learn, what it has for me to eliminate, what it has for me to include, etc., to be in balance and harmony with self, to achieve the goals and aspirations that I have for myself, right? So the receptive end. And then it's also an energy that is aligned with the cardinal. And so if you know anything about astrology, you know that the different signs can be divided up into um, modes of action, like how it functions. And I explain that a little bit more in my course, where I go into more detail about astrology. But but the cardinal is the activating energy, right? Like cardinal energies represent activation. Like I've you got it's almost think of it like as like I've gathered all this knowledge and learning and practice, and now I'm about to do something with it. Like um, I'm about to make some real major moves with it. So that's that cardinal, right? Like it activates. So some descriptions of the energy, the chariot is you have a healthy balance of willpower. You are able to move with emotion in balance and harmony, right? You have because there's balanced emotions, so you are able to move emotions, and that's energy in motion, right? Like when our emotions are not balanced, or when there is a lot of blockage, our it looks chaotic in a destructive way when we move in emotions. But when our emotions are balanced, we can move in this action, right? Like um, with clarity, with unconditional love to ourselves and others. We're able to handle and still stay grounded emotional decisions that have to be made. And we're able to manage strong emotions with wisdom and action. And so I call it like queen moves, right? Like it's regal, it's royalty, and it's healthy. And so another characteristic or description of this energy is you're able to practice healthy self-care because of this. So some descriptions of the energy is blocked within you. There's unregulation, like I was mentioning before, like your emotions are unregulated, and it's difficult for you to get grounded and centered, and so there's turbulence and indecisiveness, and so there's often a lot of freezing or fawning. And fawning is like where you kind of just you give in to things even though your spirit is telling you you really don't want to do this, but you don't really know what you want to do because that energy is blocked. So you kind of just fawn, like you just kind of just give in. There's this passive aggressiveness because there's this a lot of irritability and frustration because you're trying to figure out like you know there's more that your spirit is wanting, or you know that there are things your spirit is not wanting, but there's the blockage is causing the inability to move in a balanced way with it, and so it ends to come out more in a passive aggressive way, and there's this inability to let go. The zodiac correspondent with the chariot is Cancer, and the high priestess, which I talk about in another episode, which is energy number 2, a zodiac, well, the planet, it doesn't have a zodiac correspondent. It is just represented by the moon. And I wanted to add that in this point because the zodiac correspondent being Cancer, and Cancer has to do with the nurturing, like being able to nurture your emotions and move with them in a healthy way. So, of course, with the zodiac correspondent being Cancer, the planet correspondent is the moon. And then the element correspondent, of course, is water. And as water represents emotions, intuition, um, the deeper sense of knowing. So the alchemy practice that is taking place in this or with this energy, I like to call it turning water into wine. Um, it's your body and mind, your knowledge and intuition moving in this flow and ease, but it's where normally we tend to move more with the mind, right? Um, it's the ability to trust the healthy your emotions. It's the ability to trust your emotions. So that's like what I mean by turning that water into mind, and where the mind is almost like taking the back seat and the emotions are driving it. But again, I want to emphasize that these are emotions that are balanced, they are grounded, they are clear. Your chakras are open and the channels are moving freely, and so they're in communion with the mind. And so, but it's just the mind is the back seat, but still very much influencing the motion. So that's like the alchemy practice that's happening. And so some ways of working to reconnect or recharge or to heal this energy is sound is a big one. Sound therapy, so actually like sound immersion, sound therapy, whether it's like crystals, right? Um, are actually working with a sound therapist and doing a whole sound therapy session. It can also mean just aligning with the frequency and vibration. So you can start with even the solar plexus frequency level and finding music that aligns with you, right? And um, playing that music, or it could just be just what music allows you to feel the most connected with trusting your intuition and emotions and moving in that, right? Like even just starting there and what music is calling to you and creating a playlist. I have playlists that I've designed. You can find me on Spotify at Rooted Soul, and there are numerous playlists there, and the library is always building and growing. Every week I add a new one, and I align it with the energy that is discussed in the episode. So you can check that out as well and see if that vibes with you. But sound is a way of working. Another one is aromatherapy, and specifically chamomile is a good one that can allow to calm the nerves, to bring you into a space where you can hear more of your inner self and how your inner self wants to move. A sacred bath is another one that can be very beneficial. As you know, water is the seed of intuition, is the seed of the deeper knowing, right? And it cleanses, it purifies. And so a sacred bath can be another one. You can even do the bath with adding the an essential oil of chamomile to your sacred bath. Sitting in, and Epsom salt, I always recommend adding Epsom salt as well. So those are some ways of working to align yourself with the energy, to do the alchemy work, to um, unify your intuition and your knowledge so that it moves in harmony. And in closing, I always like to leave with an affirmation alignment that can continue to support the opening of this energy in your life. And that affirmation alignment is: I recognize opportunities that are in alignment with me. I recognize opportunities that are in alignment with me. If this is your first time listening to the episode, or you've been following along and listening, I just want to thank you for taking time to do so. And if at any point you can resonate in a way and you feel like you need additional support in realigning yourself with the energy, then I encourage you to check out our website and learn more about our services and reach out for a consultation. Until next time, bye bye.